What's going on, everybody? Mark here, and yes, you are looking at a picture of my face, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What we are here to talk about in this video is, well, there comes a time when, let's say you're working on a client's project, it's a vector drawing or vector something, and it's vector. All of it is vector, right? And they're like, you send it to them, and they want to change the colors, or can we make this color, or can we, you know what I mean? Like, they just want to change something about the color. And now you've done all of this color theory, right? You've done all your thinking about your color and where it goes, and you have all your different tones, and you're like, dang, now I have to manipulate that. And some people might take it into Photoshop to do some hue and saturation adjustment and to edit the colors in there, because it's probably a lot easier in that mindset to just be like, oh, now I have to take it into Photoshop. But you don't really want to do that, because then you're going to have to rasterize it most likely, for the most part. You could work with smart object. It just adds a lot more steps when you can work purely in vector. And I typically do not like to go into Photoshop unless I have to. I do most of my stuff in Illustrator pretty much all the time. Okay, so to color correct your vector and keep all of it vector, as you can see, I have my vector selected. All my various shapes. You don't have to necessarily have it grouped. You can do it like what you can do here. Well, first of all, yes, let's do it this way, people. Let's select, let's say 1 color, 2 color, 3 color, 4. All right, so now I have this selected, right? I'm gonna undo that just so I have it part of the face. But what we're gonna do is go to edit, and then we're going to go to edit colors, and then you have this whole tab to work with here. And we're gonna go over all of this. But not all of it. I'm going to say what I have to say about all of it, though. That's for sure. And we're going to start at the bottom, because I'm crazy. So the bottom says saturate. So what you can do right now is I would always hit preview so you know what you're doing. But you can literally mess with the saturation of whatever you have selected, just like this. You don't have to go manually do it for everything. Like, it remains in the same tonality, same brightness, hue, settings for your color code, your hex code, or whatever you want to go by your color, and it will adjust based on your shape that you had previously. So look, my darkest shape is still my darkest, my lightest is still my lightest. So that's really helpful, and you can do that with the entire thing selected if you want to. So let's go back. We're gonna go to, so overprint I don't really use this too often, and you might, I even like in my previous job in the printing industry, I didn't really even have to ever use that, but overprint would have to do with setting up a file for print for commercial reasons, for visibility or whatever. Not important right now necessarily for this video. You probably won't use this, whoever watches this. Invert colors is simply taking it to the opposite side of, the complementary color of that. And invert also means like, oh, the complementary color is invert? What? Yes, it is, because if you were to combine red light with green light, obviously, this tone, let's say this dark red tone with this light green tone, you would probably create a very gray, desaturated, even white look. And that is what invert is. It's your complementary color with light. What you can also do is, in case you were working in CMYK, you can convert those colors to RGB. I cannot convert RGB to CMYK in this color space, because I'm currently in the, if you go to File, Document Color Mode, you can see what color space you are in, and you can't, I guess it can't, it doesn't understand unless I change it to CMYK, I bet. So you're limited to RGB unless you were to jump to CMYK, and I guess that's a video in itself. Let me know if you want to make that video, or hopefully before I make it on my own anyway, but let me know. We're going to go back to what we were talking about, edit colors, and we're going to go to the next one. So you can convert to grayscale right there. Look, boom, convert to grayscale, or just basically desaturate. And again, you could do that with the whole face. You know what? Let's just select the whole face. Let's just do it. So we're going to go back to edit colors and blend vertically. I guess I really never use it, but this is kind of what it does. It would take it to dark to light basically, and just kind of do its own thing. I guess you could think about using that. You can play around with it and see what it would do, and then maybe try and incorporate things to do in art, for whatever reason. But I typically do not use that setting, but that's what that does. And blend horizontally does the same thing, just based on the horizontal configuration of your shapes. And we have to understand that some of these shapes are bigger than they might perceive. See, because I hide the lines. So that also plays an influence on the outcome of that effect. So just keep that in mind. And blend front to back, again, same kind of, foreground to background. That's pretty much what that means. Adjust color balance is important here. So now this is a great tab to work with, because now you can actually mess with the actual RGB values in the entire drawing in itself. So if I want to add more red, this drawing is going to get a lot more desaturated. It's going to become a lot more red, right? And I can add more greens and blues. I can mess with the colors in unique ways and create completely different looks. And I can even adjust based on fill and stroke. I don't think I have any strokes in this type of art, so the fill is all I really need to do. But make sure you have preview selected, and you can convert the colors to it, and you can mess with the different color spaces, obviously. And there's a lot of options in here that you can mess around with. And this is just one way to mess with the colors. But we're going to get to the main things right here. So we save the most important settings for last, the recolor artwork and the recolor with preset. Now, typically in the commercial space, you would use recolor with preset. And let's say I was making a t-shirt, and when you make t-shirts, especially with screen printing, this is really important for screen printing, they can only use a certain amount of colors or plates, and these colors have to be pre-mixed inks and pre-mixed like maps. Let's say like they have to have 3 different stamps that make up one image, almost, if you can imagine, like layering 3 blobs of like specific puzzle piece shaped blobs of color on top of each other to make a final image. And that's kind of somehow some t-shirts are made. So if you would, in a commercial space, need to set that up, I can't really print this successfully on a t-shirt with all these colors. And typically you wouldn't print this on a t-shirt this way. But what you can do, now we're just going back to a more general aspect. Now what you can do with this tab, the recolor job, is I can convert these to the Pantone colors, let's say, if I needed to have only print colors, and then it would choose the closest Pantone colors to the actual colors I had that would be printable and be able to represent perfectly upon printing, which is really important. And what you're looking at right here is the next thing I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to cancel that. But that's pretty much that process. So you can convert any color to a print-worthy color, in a sense. And again, that could be like a topic for another video, PMS and things like that. Let me know once again if you'd like me to make anything else. No one really says much, so I'm just going to make what I want to make. Edit colors is very important because we have the recolor artwork tab, which is right here at the top, the almighty recolor artwork tab. What we just went over are general effects and important things to know that are available within Illustrator working with vector shapes. But recolor artwork is the most important thing. So when I hit recolor artwork, and this is with all the colors selected, right? Just keep that in mind. So this open area right here with all these bars are showing me every single value, because this is vector, every single color value in this drawing. Now I worked with a finite amount of colors, but there's still a lot of different shades here. So what we can do is we can actually individually, let's say if I change this tone, we can individually make this any color I want. So like, watch what happens. See, I use that shade twice. Those shades now become that color, and I can do that for any shade within this drawing. And I can do it to any color. You can see where we're going with this, right? Let me just cancel that out so I can go back. I don't really use this a lot. I use it sometimes depending on what I'm doing. But a thing I will do a lot is I go to edit. And what you want to do is, this is very important, link harmony colors, right? We're going to go to link harmony colors, and we're going to select that. So now what that does, it reads every color, like the whole image together, as opposed to individual colors. And why that's important, so now if I hit that link, which I did, I can basically like color correct the entire drawing. Just like this, like I can just change to like whatever I want. I don't know why it's only selecting the eyes. That's very strange. Do I have something selected? I'm going to edit, undo. Back in the menu here, and we're going to link harmony, and there we go. So look, the brightness I can change all at once. Look at how all the shades change. I can change the saturation. I don't know why that was happening before, but I think it might have been the way it was selected. But you could see where I'm going with this. And there's a lot of options that you have in here, and look how vivid that is, you know, like it would look a lot different if you rasterize it, because it's not keeping, there's now anti-aliasing happening and smoothing and pixels and compression, and these are all things we don't really want as illustrators in the vector space. So knowing that this is available to use and taking advantage of it, especially when there's, again, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the video here, Like if a client has, and this has happened to me, came back to you and like you had this whole color scheme and he didn't like it and he wanted to change certain things, you can go individually select like your certain layers and edit those colors within the vector space without having to rasterize and actually hoping you color correct perfectly in Photoshop with pixels. Vectors are a lot more specific and organized if you know what you're doing. But honestly, if you just hover over and read and experiment with it, like this color wheel would be web safe colors most likely. It's a sectored wheel and you hit this to have a more general wheel. And you can now select each color individually. If I unlink the harmony like this, and you can now do all of this. Look, every single shade is now in it. I can, this is just a different way to edit the colors. It's kind of similar to the other menu. There's just different ways to do it. I don't mess around with this menu, but again, it's all the same things. You mess around with this tab and all of these effects, and you can have all these options in color correction in the vector space. So if you're like me and you like Illustrator a lot and you don't like going into Photoshop, please utilize this tool, edit colors, to your advantage, because there's a lot you can do with it. And I hope this was helpful if you guys did not know about this tab. So thank you. My name is Mark DiMattei. You can find me on Instagram at markdarts. That's MARKD_ARTS. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel as I am trying to make more videos constantly. I would love more feedback and subscribers because, life. See ya.